entre Trinidad y Tobago y Venezuela, que ya siempre hemos tenido migración y ahora ya está hablando de la crisis, cosa que sí va a afectar a Trinidad por la proximidad con Venezuela.
The next point I'd like to make is that what I've started speaking to the population about needs to be approved by cabinet. All right, so I am taking a note to cabinet. At the end of the day, my cabinet colleagues we will have robust conversation and we'll have discussion, and then a decision will be taken. So this right now is going to be a proposal to cabinet.
Entonces el ministro dice que primero necesita aprobación de su gabinete y una vez que lo tengan, entonces van a seguir adelante con las decisiones.
And then once cabinet, the next, a very, very critical point, and one of the reasons that this process, and this is a registration process. So let me start by saying, in the first instance, it is going to be a registration of all Venezuelans in Trinidad and Tobago.
Entonces la primera parte, cosa muy importante, es que van a tener un proceso de registro para todos los venezolanos.
And the purpose of this registration is multifold. The first big critical point is right now everybody speculating. No one can say with any degree of certainty what exactly are the numbers of Venezuelans that are here in Trinidad and Tobago. And to put it in a very quick perspective, you hear all sorts of numbers bandied about 40,000, which is what the UN had estimated it as. And then you hear members of the opposition and others pumping that up to 50, 60, 1,000 and above. The population of Tobago is less than 80,000. The population of Tobago is around 60,000, 63,000. So just use that as your measurement.
Entonces dice el ministro que ya este enfoque va a tener un enfoque múltiple, porque hay mucha especulación en cuanto a la cantidad de venezolanos que están en el país. Algunos dicen 40,000, 50,000, 100,000. Imagínense que Tobago tiene una población de alrededor de 63,000, entonces podemos imaginar, estamos hablando de una población grande.
So the first thing we need to do via this registration process is gather the data of how many Venezuelans we actually have here in Trinidad and Tobago, so we know exactly what it is we're dealing with. I don't want to speculate. I don't want to deal in the realm of speculation. So that's the first point of registration.
Entonces el primer punto del proceso de registro, dice el ministro, es recopilar los datos en cuanto a la cantidad de venezolanos que sí están en el país, porque él no quiere entrar en la especulación, quiere tener datos concretos.
The second part of this is that by knowing all of the Venezuelans who are here and we have them registered, I am going to be proposing to cabinet that we allow them the opportunity to work legally in Trinidad and Tobago for, in the first instance, a period of a year. The whole purpose behind this, one of the purposes, is to avoid the exploitation that is taking place of Venezuelans right now.
Dice el ministro también, esa es la idea, de conocer exactamente el número de venezolanos aquí. Vamos a tener a todos los venezolanos bien registrados y el ministro va a llevar una propuesta ante el gabinete donde va a proponer la oportunidad para que todos los venezolanos trabajen aquí de manera legal por un plazo de 1 año. La idea es de evitar la explotación.
Because the evidence we have before us is that Venezuelans, I can't say what are the number, but any more than one, and even one is too much as far as I'm concerned, are being exploited by corrupt persons and criminal activity in Trinidad. Persons are telling Venezuelans, you're here illegally, I'm going to take you to the authorities unless you do X, Y, and Z. And some of the X, Y, and Z are the most awful things they're subjecting our Venezuelan brothers and sisters to, including prostitution, human trafficking, and these types of things. So by allowing them to be registered and allowing them to work legally for a year, it is going to eradicate quite a lot of that.
Dice el ministro que hay mucha evidencia, dice que una persona venezolana explotada es demasiado y explotados por personas corruptas. Entonces lo que dicen es que mira, tú estás aquí ilegal y te vamos a llevar a las autoridades a menos que tú hagas tal y tal cosa. ¿Qué pasa? Es que esas son cosas horrendas que hacen a nuestros hermanos y hermanas venezolanos, cosas como la prostitución, la trata de personas. Entonces, una vez que tengamos este proceso de registro, donde los venezolanos pueden trabajar de manera legal por un año, vamos a erradicar estas ofensas.
Another point, just give me 1 second, God. Another point I'd like to make is this is not going to be open-ended. So the proposal I'm going to take to Cabinet is going to say allow the registration process to take place in a number of venues throughout Trinidad and Tobago for a period of time. Right now, I envisage between 2 weeks to a month, then we close it off again. And that registration process, we ask persons to come in, you bring your forms of identification, you fill out forms. Part of that form is going to be that is equivalent of a statutory declaration that you declare everything on the form to be true and correct. We're not going to be able at the point of registration to verify everything. But if we find out that you've provided false information after the registration process, then there are going to be normal types of penalties associated with that. It can lead to your deportation. There are obviously going to be issues associated with the registration process, the verification process. I've heard what persons say, that other persons who may not be Venezuelans will try and pass themselves off as Venezuelans. We can't cater for that at the point of registration. So one of the ways to deal with it is after that have a verification process with the various authorities like Interpol, etc.
Dice el ministro que esa es la idea. La propuesta que va a llevar ante el gabinete va a ser un registro, un proceso de registro que va a tener un plazo fijo en muchos lugares por todo el país, entre 2 semanas y 1 mes. Después de ese plazo lo van a cerrar. La idea es que cada venezolano va a llegar a estos puntos designados, van a tener su identificación, van a llenar formularios, van a declarar entonces que todo lo que digan ahí es cierto y verdadero. Si después se averiguan que es algo falso, entonces van a estar sujetos a las sanciones normales y puede ser la deportación. Entonces ese proceso de verificación lo van a seguir adelante con esto, y puede ser que algunos que no son venezolanos traten de suplantar la identidad venezolana, pero esas son cosas que van a tratar dentro del proceso.
And last thing is the Ministry of Health will also be part of the process, because what I would like to be done when we're registering is to just do a quick health scan to make sure, because one of our concerns are the importation of diseases that Trinidad and Tobago may not have throughout it. Right now, we need to be able to grab hold of that and to figure that out. So part of the process will entail the Ministry of Health being there. We will be fingerprinting persons. We will be photographing persons. We may even go for DNA of persons to just assist in the whole biometric registration of persons.
Entonces, también parte de ese proceso de registro van a involucrar al Ministerio de Salud para realizar exámenes rápidos y así evitar la importación de enfermedades.
Now, we see there's a number of messages on Facebook for the minister, but I'll just read the short ones, because when we open the lines, you can call and ask the question. We can open the lines in a while. So, but from what Annette Maguire, can the minister say if the Venezuelan refugees are checked for will be checked for mental illness, criminal records, ISIS fighters, etc., and is our health system ready to deal with the increase in HIV, etc., as they said, the serious business?
Okay, so I was just touching on that. The Ministry of Health will be part of the whole registration process. So if there are things to be picked up, they will be picked up as part of that process from the health point of view. The mental health thing is a bit more difficult, but obviously if there are signs of it at the time and they're picked up, we will deal with that as well. As I said a short while ago, it is very difficult to provide an immediate due diligence of persons who may have criminal records, etc. The forms will have a part of it that say to declare whether you've had any criminal record, what your criminal record is, if you've had one, what are the crimes you committed, etc. Just like when you're filling out forms for visas. And as I said, part of the form process will be that it's a statutory declaration that if we find out afterwards that you've not told the truth, then we will find you and we will deport you.
Dice el ministro otra vez que el Ministerio de Salud va a ser parte de este proceso de registro, que van a abordar distintos temas tales como las enfermedades y la enfermedad mental también. Pero va a ser difícil realizar toda la debida diligencia. Por ejemplo, si alguien tiene antecedentes penales, pero lo que pasa es si en el formulario la persona miente y se descubren después, entonces van a estar sujetos a sanciones.
No, one last thing, with respect to the ISIS side and the foreign terrorist fighters returning, if we have information, and I envisage part of our process is we will have red flags. So, part of what we deal with on a daily basis now is when we speak to our international allies, we've identified foreign terrorist fighters and we have red flags, Interpol have red flags. If any of those persons are picked up, then obviously we'll deal with it. There are going to be instances, I'm not burying my head in the sand, it is very, very difficult at the point of registration to have all of the information. One of the things we will require are persons to provide a contact, because I'm sure one of the first things they get when they come here are cell phones, telephone numbers, an address, and we require them to continue to update us with the addresses. If we have persons on the red flag that we pick up, we will deal with it.
One of my immediate concerns on hearing this plan was the administration of it. Do we have the resources to effectively and efficiently service this population of migrants? And even after the registration process is complete, they will now have access, once they can find employment, they'll have access to other social services, health services, etc. Can our systems support that additional burden?
The cabinet, what I would be requesting of cabinet is that we be given a specific sum of money to deal with the registration process. How I envisage it is the registration process, the forms, the questions being asked, an integral part of the success of this. So we have to put those systems in place. They already exist. So the immigration authorities are going to be part of the ones driving the process that exists as it is right now in Trinidad and Tobago. We're going to bump it up. We may have to employ on a short-term basis some more people just to make sure we deal with this efficiently. What was the other thing?
In terms of access to services.
Can Trinidad and Tobago's resources handle it? This is a question that's asked all over the world. Once you're dealing with persons who have left their home countries, and these are refugees, so once you're dealing with it, it is going to put some level of strain on your existing facilities. I'm also not going to pretend that isn't so, because by definition, if right now you're dealing with 10,000 Trinidadians and you have 500 extra added on, is now 10,500. So there is going to be that increase. I'd like to make one important point, and we were discussing it off air a short while ago. This has nothing to do with seeking asylum. That is a completely different process. What the UNHCR and Living Waters do will remain their process. This is a registration process. This is an opportunity for all Venezuelans who are here in Trinidad and Tobago to come forward and register. And it is mandatory.
Regardless of their status.
Regardless of your status, correct. Okay. So if you're here illegally, we are now going to give you the opportunity. Come and register yourself. We're not going to lock you up. Come forward and register, you're going to fall. And that's why I use the term amnesty. So whoever registers, this is the opportunity to register in that 2-week period, the 1-month period, and you'll be allowed to work. So if you're here illegally, come and register. You're part of our system now, and you can go ahead and work legally. It is not asylum. This has nothing to do with the asylum system and process that the UNHCR handles.
Dice el ministro algo importante, que ese proceso de registro no tiene nada que ver con buscar asilo. No, lo que hace ACNUR y Living Waters es cosa aparte. Entonces se trata de una oportunidad para todos los venezolanos para que vengan, para que se registren, porque es algo obligatorio. Tienen que registrarse, no importa qué estado legal tienen. Si estás aquí ilegal, no importa, que vengan, que se registren, porque es una forma de amnistía que le están dando, porque van a tener la oportunidad de registrarse entre 2 semanas y 1 mes.
We could open the lines number 622-3937,
Ya pueden llamar porque el teléfono aquí 622-9292.
Minister, just have one question. How much money is you going to ask for from cabinet for this registration process?
I don't want to state that at this stage until I've gone to cabinet, because I haven't finally determined that amount as yet.
Okay. And
Let's go. Bienvenidos.
Aló.
Aló, adelante.
Good evening.
Sí, buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
Mi nombre es Carla Enríquez, yo soy refugiada aquí con estatus. El protocolo de los refugiados establece el derecho al asilo y el disfrute del asilo, y en Trinidad no están respetando esto, ¿verdad? De hecho, no nos reconocen como personas legales. Nosotros somos legales aquí porque internacionalmente los estados partes tienen la obligación de cumplir con lo que firman, independientemente de que hayan ratificado o no, ¿verdad? Entonces mi pregunta es la siguiente.
Carla, ¿nos da un momento, por favor?
Ajá.
Gracias. So Carla is saying that
No, you can.
She's saying that she is a refugee, and that the protocol in terms of refugees and asylum seekers say that she has certain rights, but she's saying she's not recognized as legal here in the country.
Okay.
So part of this whole registration process will deal with that. What you need to do is you come forward once the registration process has begun, and you register, and you will receive all of the rights that we're granting under that process, and you'll be allowed to work once cabinet approves it in the first instance a period of a year. You're right that our refugee laws and the asylum laws, there are no domestic laws that provide for that. This is something separate from that. You're now being given an opportunity to come forward and be registered, and you'll be allowed to work for a period of time as determined by cabinet.
Carla, dice que ese proceso de registro, que lo van a abordar este tema que usted mencionó. Entonces, la idea es que se van a registrar y ahí usted va a recibir todos los derechos, va a poder trabajar, y una vez que el gabinete lo apruebe, así será, y para trabajar por un año, ¿no? Pero este tema de asilo no tiene nada que ver, porque lo que pasa es que las leyes, la legislación doméstica, no lo tenemos plasmado aquí. Es algo aparte, este tema de asilo. Este registro va a ser la oportunidad para usted para registrarse y después tener el derecho de trabajar por un año.
El mismo derecho que tengo en el protocolo de los refugiados, ¿no? Porque allí establece mi derecho al trabajo, igual que en la Declaración Universal de los Derechos Humanos, que tengo derechos económicos.
So she's saying it's the same right she has in the Universal Declaration, or am I wrong?
Right now, as the Universal Declaration, there is no domestic legislation. All right, so we sign on to treaties. Yeah, so there's no local legislation supporting that. So right now, even when you get your UNHCR asylum card, it doesn't, as far as I'm aware, give you the right to work, because that comes under our immigration laws, and that depends on the Minister of National Security granting a work permit or ministerial permit. What you're now going to be given is the opportunity to work legally.
Entonces, Carla, no sé si entendió bien lo que dice el ministro. Es que sí, la Declaración Universal existe, tiene los derechos que usted mencionó, pero no tiene contemplado la legislación doméstica. Entonces, ¿qué pasa? Es que no hay legislación local para apoyar esto. Entonces, la tarjeta de ACNUR, que sepa el ministro, no le da el derecho de trabajar. Entonces, lo que pasa es que hay que tener en mente la ley, la legislación de inmigración y todo. Y con el proceso de registro va a tener la oportunidad de trabajar aquí por un año.
¿Qué pasa después con las personas refugiadas después de un año?
So what happens to the refugees after a year?
Well, as I say, this is in the first instance. We are hoping, and no one can predict the future, if things settle down in Venezuela and there's a return of stability in Venezuela, and the Venezuelan people decide their own faith in a peaceful manner, as we hope will happen, I am sure that you and other Venezuelans would want to return home, back to your home and back to life in Venezuela. I can't predict what will happen in the future. This is what we're prepared to do in the first instance, and we're going to take it step by step.
Dice el ministro, Carla, que es el primer paso, ¿no? Que él no puede predecir lo que va a pasar en el futuro, pero la idea es que ojalá que en el futuro cercano haya estabilidad en Venezuela. Si es el caso, él está seguro que muchos venezolanos van a querer regresar, ¿no? A su país. Pero este proceso de registro va a ser paso 1, dice el ministro.
Y otra pregunta tengo. ¿Por qué no iniciar, por ejemplo, IDC y Anmistia está lleno de venezolanos registrados siendo asylum seeker y otros refugiados con estatus, detenidos y que por entrar ilegal o por estar de forma ilegal aquí, y el protocolo de los refugiados establece la no sanción por entrar ilegal y por estar irregular mientras dure su proceso. Adicional a eso, cuando salen, inmigración les está cobrando un security bond que es para devolverse, y nosotros no somos inmigrantes, somos refugiados. Los refugiados no se pueden regresar a casa. Esa es una ley especial para inmigrantes. Entonces, ¿por qué no empezar con esa gente que tienen más de 3 meses, 6 meses y hasta un año, año y medio detenidos arbitrariamente? Porque se considera arbitrario después de 30 días que tú estás en una detención y no has cometido ningún crimen y no se te ha procesado.
Okay, Carla. Un momento, yeah? So Carla is saying that why not start with the people in the IDC, many of whom have refugee status, but they were placed in IDC because of illegal entry. And she's saying that some of them, immigration is charging a security bond, and as refugees, they are not supposed to return. The bond is to send them back home. And she's saying that as a refugee, you're not supposed to return to your home. And many of them, after 30 days, if you haven't committed a crime, they shouldn't be there. But she's saying some of them have been there 3 months, 6 months, up to a year and a half, and that they've been arbitrarily arrested.
They wouldn't have been arbitrarily arrested. They would have been arrested for being illegal immigrants here. This whole process and this whole registration process I'm proposing, they will be part of it. So it's not that those who are in the immigration detention center for overstaying their allowed time of being here will be kept out of the loop. So they will be registered. They will receive the same rights unless they have committed crimes. If they've committed crimes, then they will be part of the penal system. If they haven't committed crimes, they are going to be part of the registration process and they will be released from the detention center.
Carla, dice el ministro que ya eso, las personas en IDC, ellos van a ser parte de este proceso de registro y que no se preocupe. Carla, por favor, tenemos otras personas en línea, pero muchas gracias por su pregunta.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias.
Gracias. Thank you very much, Anna, for clearing that up. And
No, that was excellent. I love it.
Yes. So again, the number to call is
622.
622-9292 por sus preguntas.
And also we have some excellent news coming out. I just got some, Clayton Morris did some work at our prison with the futsal team, and Ross Jr. has now been recalled to the national team. He was released after doing that. He was part of the futsal team as well.
Excellent.
So congratulations. Congratulations, Clayton, and of course Ross Jr. We go back to the line, Storm?
Yeah.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, good evening, God.
Good
evening,
evening.
Natasha,
Hi.
and to the minister and your other guests.
Good evening.
I'm wondering, is it that these people will be getting...
Not these people, ma'am. I would prefer that you don't refer to them as these people.
Okay,
But
sorry
our
about it.
Venezuelan neighbors.
Yes, okay then.
All right.
Whatever it is, I'm sorry.
Okay.
The persons then who will be getting is the card you're talking about?
All of that,
registration?
yeah, all of that is to be worked out. But the idea is, and my hope is, we will be able to provide them with a registration card.
Okay, what I would like to know, is it everything that we'll be getting, the medical and everything, which will be based on the government expense?
Well, as it stands right now, any visitor to Trinidad and Tobago, any visitor from anywhere in the world, including if you come down from Mars, if something happens to you, you can go into our accident and emergency branches throughout Trinidad and Tobago in our public health care system, and you will get access to medical care and attention free of charge. So that currently exists. We at Cabinet will work out what are the other things. For example, I don't foresee that they will be able to access, for example, our social services like food cards and these types of things. But they will be allowed the opportunity to work once they can work.
So, if someone is not registered when you are having your registration and are working, they would not be entitled to get the medical from the health facility?
No. As I've just said, anybody who's in Trinidad and Tobago, as it stands right now, can walk into any of our public healthcare systems or healthcare centers, as well as the general hospitals, and get healthcare service from anywhere in the world once you're here on soil in Trinidad and Tobago. So this wouldn't affect any of that. Now, I'd also like to take the opportunity to point out this registration card is just a registration card that you're part of this system.
Okay.
This has absolutely nothing to do, and I'm going to kill the talk one time, with elections and registering people to vote, etc. We heard the opposition try to go down that road. This does not permit you to do anything like that, and EDC has no part of it.
I was wondering if it is they will be entitled to pay the national insurance. That was my concern.
Once you're here and you're working legally and you cross the thresholds, yes. So if you employ a Venezuelan and you're paying them more than $6,000 a month, you have to pay the PAYE and all these types of things as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, take care.
Very much.
Okay, Tom, you can send him. Hello.
Good evening.
Aló.
Hi, good evening.
Hello.
Muy buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
Denis Ventura Alcalá.
Hola,
Quería
Denis.
hacerle una pregunta al ciudadano ministro.
Claro,
Sí.
adelante.
Ok, señor ministro. Yo soy una persona que estuvo en el centro de detenciones IDC, MSP, Santa Rosa. Por estar ilegal, ¿verdad? Fui condenado a 2 meses de prisión y estuve 4 meses en la prisión de máxima seguridad en Santa Rosa, esperando ir a cumplir una condena a MSP, ¿verdad? Cumplí mi condena de 2 meses y después me mandan, cuando salgo el 26 de mayo de cumplir la condena en MSP, me mandan otra vez a IDC. Allí en IDC estuve aproximadamente 8 meses esperando mi liberación. Tuve que pagar una condena teniendo el beneficio del refugio, ¿verdad? De estatus de refugiado. Tuve que pagar un bono que me pide migración para poder salir hacia afuera. Otra pregunta que quería hacerle, el por qué, siendo refugiado, ¿verdad? Nos llevan muchas veces a IDC, muchas personas nos llevan a IDC y están allí 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 meses sin ir a un juicio. Las condiciones, por favor, le piden al nombre de Dios y del pueblo que está allí metido, que usted mismo se apersone hasta el centro de detenciones de IDC, ya que allí se hacen demasiadas irregularidades, señor ministro, por favor.
Okay, señor, un momento.
Okay.
So what Dennis is saying, Minister, is that, well, he explained his situation, that he was at IDC and Santa Rosa for being here illegally. He spent 2 months in prison and then 4 months in maximum security prison. He completed his sentence. On the 26th of May, he was sent to IDC, and at IDC, he was there 7-8 months awaiting release. He even paid a bonus to immigration. As a refugee, he's wondering why they are taken to IDC, where they are there sometimes up to 6 months without a hearing. He's pleading, Minister, he's talking about the poor conditions and a lot of irregularities at IDC.
Okay, I am actually planning to visit the IDC this week. And to go up there, I've been also speaking to the Commissioner of Prisons for us to expand the IDC facilities into the Eastern Correctional Facilities so we can take more people. I assume that persons are at IDC because they are here illegally or they've overstayed the permitted amount of time. So in other words, you've broken the laws of Trinidad and Tobago. Part of what I intend to take to Cabinet in this registration process is to allow persons who fall in that category an opportunity to come forward and register, and you'll be allowed to work here legally for the period of, I hope, a year once Cabinet approves it. So persons who are at IDC is because you've committed some you've breached the laws of Trinidad and Tobago. Our laws are that if you're here for more than 90 days, it means you're here illegally. The authorities are entitled to arrest you and to detain you, subject to a hearing under the Immigration Act, etc. And I think this is what has happened.
Dennis, dice el ministro que él sí tiene planeado una visita a IDC, va a hablar con el comisionado de prisiones porque la idea van a ampliar las instalaciones ahí. Dice que una vez que una persona esté en IDC es porque han llegado aquí ilegal por incumplimiento de las leyes, ¿no? de este país. Pero él va a acercarse al gabinete para que este proceso de registro sea abierto a todos los venezolanos. Van a tener la oportunidad de trabajar al menos un año, ¿no? Esa es la idea. Y en IDC, lo que pasa es que cuando uno esté allí es porque se ha quedado en el país más de 90 días, que 90 días es el límite legal. Y después de este plazo, las autoridades sí pueden detener a las personas.
No, I have a question too from another. Thank you, Dennis. Gracias,
No.
Dennis.
Gracias.
Un momento, por favor. Quiero hacerle otra pregunta, ciudadano
Dennis
ministro.
has one
con
more
todo
question
permiso.
to the minister.
Uno más.
Ok.
Una más, por
favor.
favor, Dennis, ¿ya?
Ok, señor ministro, el por qué la alimentación en el centro de detención de IDC es tan mala, el por qué a nosotros en el centro de detención de IDC, si no estamos presos, dice que estamos detenidos, en condición de detenidos, ¿por qué estamos bajo reja 23 horas del día? Se nos dan diariamente 330 mililitros de agua, cuando nuestro cuerpo necesita más agua. Y cuando pedimos más agua a los ciudadanos funcionarios nos dicen que bebamos agua del chorro, de la pila, porque es más saludable, que tiene cloro y nos limpia.
Yeah, Dennis, gracias. Minister Dennis is asking why the food is so poor at IDC, and if they're not prisoners, supposedly, why are they behind bars all day and they don't get a lot of water? They're allowed only 330 millimeters of water.
Okay, Dennis, first of all, you may not be prisoners under the, like persons who have committed crimes, but by breaching the laws of Trinidad and Tobago, it is a crime. So at the end of the day, you are detained, persons are detained at the IDC for having breached the laws of Trinidad and Tobago, and under our Immigration Act, it permits our immigration authorities to detain you for being in breach of the laws of Trinidad and Tobago. The same thing would happen, for example, if you were in the United States and you overstayed in the United States. They have units, the ICE unit, that would pick you up, they can detain you and deport you. The point is that right now we've recognized that there's a problem. We've recognized that our brothers and sisters in Venezuela who are here, we need to do something about it, and I am going to be proposing to Cabinet, and this is all subject to Cabinet approving, that we're going to have a registration process. And as I've tried to explain over and over tonight, part of that registration process, once you're registered, will allow you to work. So persons who are at the IDC for overstaying their visit, overstaying the time that you're permitted to be here, they will be allowed to come out after the registration process and work. I'm also being told by our chief immigration officer, who is listening, that most of the Venezuelans that are at the IDC are there for illegal entry, and also that you're supposed to get 4 bottles of 330 milliliters of water a day and 3 meals a day approved by nutritionists. I don't think anywhere in the world, unfortunately, even in hospitals, that the food you get at these institutions are as good as you may get on the outside. But as I say, I'm going to be visiting the IDC, and I am certain that the persons and immigration are doing the best they can in the circumstances at the IDC.
Denis, lo que dice el ministro es que, bueno, que sí, tiene estado de preso, pero no por delitos graves, ¿no? Es por incumplimiento de la ley de quedarse aquí más de 90 días, ¿no? Según las leyes de migración. Y eso pasa en cualquier país, en Estados Unidos, con sus unidades de migración. Pero él reconoce que hay un problema con los hermanos, tenemos aquí hermanos venezolanos, ¿no? Entonces él va a llegar ante el gabinete con esa propuesta, con el proceso de registro. Y una vez que tenga aprobación, pues ya los venezolanos van a poder trabajar aquí legalmente por un año, ¿no? Eso es al principio. Y lo que pasa en el IDC, cuando uno se queda aquí más allá de su tiempo legal, bueno, las personas en IDC que han hecho eso van a tener la oportunidad también de registrarse y de trabajar. El jefe de migración está escuchando también y dice que la mayoría de los venezolanos en IDC están allá por entrar ilegal, ¿no? Y que ya tienen derecho a 4 botellas de agua y 3 comidas al día. Él sabe, si el ministro reconoce que tal vez la calidad de la comida no es lo que tal vez van a conseguir afuera, pero que sí tienen derecho a estas comidas y agua. Él va a visitar IDC y él sabe que las autoridades de migración están haciendo lo mejor que puedan, ¿no? Bajo las circunstancias.
Could you tell those who asking the question in
Dennis,
Spanish, Spanish on Facebook to call the
62 number?
Para
Yes.
todos los radio oyentes que nos están escuchando, por favor, que llamen a 622-9292 y también estamos en línea en Facebook.
Minister, I just got a message from someone who said that a family of theirs came from Venezuela to a reunion, but because of the flights being grounded to go back to Venezuela, they're here legally. Should they too seek to identify themselves and register while they're here, or what do you think?
No, I am assuming that they want to get back to Venezuela. There are different means to get back to Venezuela. For example, I was being told before coming here, I think Cal, and this is subject to confirmation, but maybe restarting flights, or they have a flight coming in tomorrow or something like this.
Okay.
So once they can get back within the 90-day period, they should make their way back.
Okay, 622-397, we could... okay, the producer wants to take a break, and so we take a break and we'll be back with more of your calls. Stay right there.
I-95.5 FM, the most influential name in radio, puts the station in the palm of your hands. It's the I-955 FM app for Android and iOS devices. Walk with the station everywhere you go and listen to I-95.5 FM 24/7 for all your talk, news, sports, current affairs, and music. Go to our website at i955fm.com or to our Facebook page, I955FM, and click on the link provided to download the app. Android users, go to the Play Store, and iPhone users, head to the App Store on your smartphone or tablet. Search I-95.5 FM and download the I-95.5 FM app for your Android and iOS devices. The I-95.5 FM app. Download now.